The week was good. I got me some running training shoes, y'all. I went to the running show. I mean,
The walking store. What's it called?
shoe running store.
Shoe running store.
No, that's not
What
what
is it called? Because they have the walking store.
Yeah, no.
Welcome to Thoughts in the Glass podcast. I'm LaToya.
And I'm Kendra.
And this is a weekly podcast where we share our unfiltered thoughts and opinions on a variety of topics.
So sit back, relax, and join us on a conversation of real, raw, and ridiculously funny commentary.
Period. Every week we do a drink of the night.
Oh,
Kendra, what's the drink tonight?
Tonight's drink is called the cherry apple candy apple martini. My bad, y'all. Watch this beautiful bean footage by Sharon.
To make this ahead, 9 ounces good vodka, 6 ounces sour apple liqueur, 3 ounces grenadine, 1.5 cups fresh Granny Smith apple juice. Now your cocktail is done. Chill your glass, moisten the rim with a lemon. Like that. Apple to garnish because you fancy. Candy Apple Martini.
Cheers.
Yeah, I know I'm not a big fan of vodka, but it's masking it a little bit. I think the candy of it. Tasty.
And I'm not a big fan of grenadine, but it's good. I get the concept.
You get the concept?
I get the concept.
I mean, it's great for fall.
Yeah.
We're in the fall.
We are.
It's slowly approaching.
It smells good. It low key smell better than it tastes.
Yeah.
How was your week? If you have anything, if not, we could just jump right into it because the topic is heavy today.
Oh, the week was good. I got me some running training shoes, y'all. I went to the running show. I mean,
the walking store. What's it called?
Shoe running store.
Shoe running store.
That's not
what is it called? Because they have the walking store.
Yeah, no, it's the hold on, Potomac River Running.
Oh,
is where we went. You get on the thing, you run. They see what kind of run you have and stride and all that kind of stuff, and then
they get a shoe
special
teammate for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
That way, my foot can fall. If y'all follow me, like I said, if y'all be following me on TikTok, y'all know my foot falls asleep, baby.
Oh, it does.
In the middle of me running, yes.
I wonder if you need to wear compression tights.
I might.
Because that sounds like a circulation problem.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
So fun.
Oh, cool. I love that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby's daughter had her 16th birthday party Saturday.
Fun.
She did like a storybook, enchanted garden theme. I guess I'll drop down pictures. That took up basically most of my day. And then book club. We read the book. I talked to y'all about this though. We finally met up after reading Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan, but I really want to jump into the topic because I don't know, we might get through it pretty quickly.
Okay.
But I feel like this is a I don't want to say heavy, but like this is a deeper topic. Or maybe that's not the right word to use. Maybe this one kind of hits close to home because we know people that are in this situation. We have quite a few friends that are single, right? And we're all older. Like we're either tapping on the door of 40 or in our 40s, mid 40s, even some tapping on the door of 50 or in their 50s, right? And so a lot with being single and getting older, a lot of the kind of ideas and thoughts and plans that you have for your life that included a partner, we're not able to check those boxes, right? Like we're able to do all the things as far as like the education, the career, even when it comes to like buying a house and do all those things. But for those that wanted marriage and kids and all of that under that umbrella, now we're getting to a point where we're getting older. That hasn't happened yet. What you know what I mean?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Yeah.
And granted, obviously, you can have kids without being married, and you can be married without having kids, or you can, marry the first person that you see, and obviously there are ways that you can accomplish these goals without. But we're talking about real, meaningful, long lasting. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about people just doing shit to do shit.
Yeah,
we're talking about partnership, and so. I want us to kind of get into it a little bit, because I feel like, personally, because we know people that are in these situations, I feel like that is really not talked about enough. The mourning or the
longing for.
Yeah.
So this is what I'll say, and I'm going to speak to both sides of things, right? Have been in a situation where I did want the traditional get married, then have children, have a beautiful home, or have a beautiful home, have the kids, do all of the things. Because that's my story with my parents. But in that same household, the story with my siblings, the older siblings, are their parents divorced. And then they were around when my dad was dating. And so here's this new woman coming in. Now my mom comes in with no children, automatically now has children. And it's like, and I say this to her all the time, what the hell was you thinking?
Right.
He is a divorcee. He's a little older than you. Not too much. It wasn't anything crazy. They're 6 years apart. And now his kids are preteen at this time. You're single. You have a really great job. No children. Why? And her response to me was like, I saw the kind of man that he was, and with his children, and my mom's dad was not in the picture. And so that really drew her to him. And then just the kind of man that he was and all of the things. And I think that at this point, my mom's like in her late 20s. And I think that starts to play on your mind, like, am I going to find another guy like this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm never going to say that my mom settled, but that wouldn't be the ideal situation that you would think she should be in.
Right.
So I'm be honest, my grandmother was like, he got what? He got kids? My grandma was not for it, because my mother, my dad look good. We ain't gonna shy away from that. But her resume does not look like she should have been applying for that type of job.
I understand.
So I think in that case, there are some times where you're in a situation in which sometimes things get presented to you in the packaging you're not looking for, but the present inside is exactly what you need. And I know sometimes in some of our friends and things like that, we're looking for a certain way that things are supposed to go. And this is what I was leading to. Like, I really want to get married. I really want this. I really want that. Sometimes those things can't happen until you do some fulfillments of yourself.
Right.
And so the timeline in which we think that we should be on isn't necessarily happening because there's some internal work. So we were having a conversation about how getting skinny doesn't change the situation that you're in, right? So being in a marriage, being with somebody, having the children may not give you the outcome that you are longing for.
True.
And so I think for some of our friends, even at one point, even for myself, I had to say, I have to mourn the fact that the ideals that I had when I was a kid it's not going to be what I think, what is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And I have to live into the reality and play the cards that I was that. Now, I would love to be able to run a Boston on motherfuckers, but sometimes, I'm going to have to get a couple books taken, or it didn't happen for me. So it's hard because we are in a space now in which we can have all of the things. And everybody, like, the longing for a relationship, the hard part with that is relationships take two people.
Yes.
And that second person, as much as you love and you put forth and this, that, and the fourth, it's still a two-person thing.
And you can't account for how they're going to show up.
How they're going to show up into that space. So you can have the perfect, and we've seen this, right? People, ideally it looks like the thing. And then when you get to the nuts and bolts of it, it's like, I would never sign up for that. And the fantasy, and we do this a lot as women, especially as women, we have this fantasy of what we see in social media, in other friends, in other spaces, and it causes us to be like, now why can't that happen for me? And we don't know the ins and outs of what's going on in that space. It just looks good because at that time we're not with somebody or we don't have that same thing. But I think society has stopped with, some people in society have kind of stopped with, oh, you should have a baby by this time, because that's been so debunked. You know what I'm saying? Now, but it's an internal thing too.
It is still relevant. While it may not be, we see women still having babies in their 40s and 50s and all of that. It is still relevant. There are still challenges, and we're seeing more and more people having to do the IVF and all of that, right? But I want to go back to what you said about it takes two people, and you don't know what that, you can't really account for how that other person's going to show up. And also, I think it's a valid feeling to have as that single person, because even if you're in a relationship and you, like, that other person is not showing up the way you think they should, and it's like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, but at least you had an opportunity to experience it. That's like me complaining about my marriage to somebody who's never been married. At least you had an opportunity to experience it. And they didn't even get to experience it. That is where some of the contention can come from, right? Going through it, you kind of want to be like, it ain't all that. But then for that person that's never been there, it's like, okay, well, let me go in and see for myself that it ain't all that. You're saying that, but you've been there. I've never been there.
But see, this is the hard part, right? As well, because we do this with our kids. Oh, don't touch that stove. And then you burn yourself and you realize, like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have.
But you have to do it. Like, it's one of those experiences, lesson. Like you said, even as a parent, you know that there are going to be experiences that your kids have to have. And you're like, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you every warning I could possibly give you. But I know that you're going to have to do this on your own, or else you're not going to even, almost like you're not even going to believe anything I say because you've never been in this situation.
I don't know. I think when you have the fantasy of what you want, there are some things that people could tell you not to do and you would never do it. Like, if a homeless person came up to me and was like, now, being homeless ain't what you want. In my mind, you're right. I don't even need to experience that for me not to believe you, or for you to be like, child, girl, I wouldn't want you to get in that car accident, because I don't need to experience it to see how you feel about it. But I think we get to a place where we're like, it's the foundation, fundamentals of this is what society says we should do. And sometimes we still hold certain things very much so dear. And I think that if the relationship and the partnership is what you want, look for that. If the children is what you want, go get that. You know what I mean? But
it's the romanticizing of it too, because we do, in general, as a society and as individuals, we do romanticize being in relationships and what that looks like and what it should feel like. We do that. Make it, with all we talked about a couple weeks ago, with all these fairy tale princess stories, we really make that feel like that's the goal. And then now you want to tell these adult women who haven't experienced it, because not only do we romanticize it, but some people do get to experience it. So then you want to tell the small group of people that didn't get to experience it, it ain't all that. It's like, well, I've been seeing this all around me this whole time and wanting this almost my whole life. Now that it's not happening for me, the answer is, well, it wasn't all that to want it anyway.
It's a catch-20. It's like a 50 thing. Because I be saying to the girls, I be saying to them all the time, wait to be intimate with anybody. It ain't the bee's knees that you think it is.
Right.
Now other people be like, but it is the bees. But I'm like, but also everybody ain't the bee's knees.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
true.
Your experience of, you may get the man that does all of the things and makes it so special. Next thing you got the man that be like, well, I just want to do it in the car every time. You know what I'm saying? Or don't want to do anything but that, or I don't do this or whatever. So I'm like, enjoy that not being the pressures of your space. But that's my perspective. And they was like, everybody done said it's all of that. It's this, that, and every person. There hasn't been, and maybe I just talked to the right people. There has not been one person that has said, "Oh, when I lost her, it was the best."
Yeah, I had that experience either.
that experience.
But yeah, people keep doing it, so
Right.
something happening.
Something's happening. Something's going on. So I think it's like that. It's been hyped up so much that I just have to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a very warped sense of relationships because I never saw my parents argue. They've been married all of my life. All my brothers, like, they were married before they had us. So I have a different purview of what good relationships are. And I carry that into like my relationship. Like with Davon and I, he don't understand why I don't take a lot of stuff very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come to him with things that I am taking seriously, it still sounds very jokingly in that space. But it's because of my dad, my mom, my parents, they play all day long.
Right.
And that's just where I've come from. I didn't come from a yelling household. I didn't come from a dysfunctional space. So that's just not my thing. Now, in that, I have been in relationships where the men look something like my father. Not like physically, but like they present themselves the same way. However, the fundamentals of who they are is not the same, right? And so when the fundamentals aren't the same, it's like, yeah, you might be there for those children, but it's also you different with this child. You know what I'm saying? So it just gauges differently. That's not you taking care of them kids over there is not the fundamental of who you are just to take care of your responsibilities. It's because, oh, I really like their mama, or she ain't really pressuring me to do such and such, or she ain't really bothering me, so I can come and go as I please. So it looks better because she don't bother me, kind of thing. But in my space, you don't do what you're supposed to do over here, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's not the fundamentals of you. Now, when I met Davon, he don't have kids. He didn't have any children. So I don't know what he's been like. He was like, I couldn't say, oh, he reminds me of my dad because he takes care of his kids. He don't have that.
Right.
He has other things going on in his life. You know, he did traveling. So nothing like how my dad was, right? But fundamentally is exactly how my dad is. You know what I'm saying? So it looked different. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get something different. You know, I was looking for somebody like my dad, and he's kind of like different from my dad. But now with my kid, I'll just say our children, he is the dad. And he does the things that my dad does. He does things differently because of the day and age and things like that. But what I was looking for in a partner and a parent and a parenting partner, I have all the things. Now, I wanted to get married. That's not high on the priority list for him. So I'm like, the packaging for me did not look like what I was looking for, but the inside is what I needed. So I think for some of our friends, they're looking for a certain package sometimes. And sometimes you have to look outside of the package to get what you want, because it may not come in marriage, especially with this day and age. It's a different day and age. Everybody doesn't hold value in that. Now, the value that used to be held, especially for women, to get a credit card, to get a house, this, that, and the fourth, so you don't besmirch your name with having children out of wedlock.
Right.
All of these things, but we're in a space now where that's not the norm. That's kind of like the abnormal thought. And if you're still holding that dear, it does make it harder. Now, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but it does make it harder. We have a friend that's very into her spirituality. Well, not spirituality, but she's very much so into religion. So she is really on the meet somebody, get married, then have children track. And that doesn't really hold well up north.
Or in general, really, I wouldn't even say up north, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because one of the things that I was thinking about is we already have so much to contend with. Take religion out of it. We already have so much to contend with, right? Like you said it. These guys don't always show up the way they need to show up. We have other factors in life. We just have so much to contend with already. Then you add religion on top of it. And I'm just going to speak on Christianity, Baptist religion, because that's what I'm familiar with. I feel like that also now has an additional impact on it that, in my opinion, makes it worse. It's like, it's hard, because what do you say to that person who's really trying to have that faith and be Christ-like and go with the guidelines of their religion, but then find themselves damn near 40, still a virgin, or doesn't have a lot of sexual experience, but not wanting to have sex outside of marriage, but then wanting to get married, wanting to have kids, it's almost like it's a setup for failure, because then you have the guy on the other hand who maybe he is a man of God or whatever, but that's a lot of pressure on him too. Like, now I'm coming in and supposed to fall in love with you, and not knowing if we're sexually compatible, get into this relationship really quickly, hurry up and get married and have kids because you're 45 and I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to have kids without help. And who knows if we can afford IVF, even that to me, I empathize, because I'm like, damn, it's hard enough. But then you're going to add that on top of it.
Yeah.
People in that situation, they can't even, for example, if it's just like, I want to have a baby, and a lot of people do this, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but whatever dude I get with, if we having sex unprotected, if I get pregnant, that's my baby. I want a baby. You know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is the mentality that a lot of women will have, especially as we get older, because it's like,
I don't know how much time I have.
I'm running out of time. I'm not
doing no plan B.
Yeah, I'm not getting no abortion for you.
Yep.
You know what it is. But for that woman who's saying, I'm going to follow Christ, I'm not going to do that, she can't even get a random baby out the deal, to like check baby. The mom box. Random baby, you know what I mean? The marriage thing didn't happen, but I was at least able to get my baby.
Yeah.
Woman in that situation can't even say that. When you add religion on top of it, you don't get anything. It's like, damn, that's messed up, because you would think that those are the people that get the
blessed.
Favor of God. Yeah. I don't even know what to say to you, because I'm over here too thinking like, that's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing all the things, and then you, by way of trying to do the right thing, lock yourself out of the opportunities? You know what I mean?
It's unfortunate because there are a lot of Christian women. My aunt is 70.
Wow.
Never been married, never have had children, none of that.
Wow.
And so it's unfortunate, especially when you see the women who really want it, because there are women out here that just be like, I'm cheating on this dude, I'm dogging him out, this, that, and the fourth, because I ain't really pressed for it, and they get them like this.
They sure do. Now, granted, they may not be quality men.
Yeah.
But they still able to have that experience.
And then sometimes they get the quality men and turn them into jackasses.
That's true, too.
So, I don't know, because I don't know if you saw this on social media, but this young lady was like, I don't do coffee dates.
Yeah.
And so
I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did. And so before we didn't have, and this was guys who always say, oh, I wish it was back in the day, because the standard was so much lower than what the expectation is for guys. And I think what we've done as women is, instead of, we don't want to be held back. So we've done the work, we've done the therapy, we've done the things. And the men have not. And so now we have an expectation for men to show up whole, because we're showing up whole. And then when they don't, that ain't enough. He ain't right. And so the thing is, I'm just going to be honest. You as a woman being a nurturer are going to be forced to be not necessarily like the partner who has all of the ideas, right? In our partnership, LaToya be having all of the things. I show up and I'm willing to learn, and we participating in the same thing. But the effort isn't lacking on my end, because my willingness to being like, oh, she got it all together. So I'm not going to be like, okay, well, she got it all together. And then also you're going to have to do all of the things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're finding yourself in a situation where, or as women, we're finding ourselves in a situation where we've done all the work because we've had the relationships and grown from them. Most men, unfortunately, they don't grow from the relationships. They do a lot of the unaccountability, blaming game. And so when you get into this relationship, it's everybody else's fault of why those other relationships didn't work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to say the hard things because they don't want to be like, oh, if you feel like that, you know, like me and you need to stop talking now. And you don't want to hear that, because now I finally got me one. I'm going to do all that I can do to keep this one. But the problem with that is you're not going to be the same person in a year or two. And if you haven't required him to grow up in the dating phase, you can't all of a sudden require him 2 years later after y'all got married, because that's not what he signed up for. And you've signed up for something different as well. So,
or you can, but like you said earlier, you have to be okay with he may choose to opt out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now my requirements have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Then he can say, okay, great, I don't want to be a part of that. Then you got to be okay with it. But in this case, in this group class of people that we're talking about, maybe have had relationships and it didn't work out, but they can't even really get to that point because the relationships just aren't going that far. Like, they're not going to that point of now we're having these conversations. It's more so you be with somebody for a little bit, you think it's gonna be something, and then it ends up not being nothing. But you spent a year with that person, so now I'm 42.
Yeah,
you know, I feel like even that is something that we don't really talk about enough. Like the close calls.
Yes.
Like, meet this great guy, think everything's going well, spend time, invest in them, you know, pour into that relationship, and you're thinking, okay, I got one. We doing it.
Yeah.
And then some bullshit happens, and it's like, that didn't work out. Fuck, I'm back to square one.
Yeah.
But I'm 2 years older now.
Yeah. Do you remember the movie with Jennifer Lopez? Excuse me, with Jennifer Lopez, and she was she wanted a family so bad, but she really wanted more. She wanted kids. She was in her 40s, and then she ended up getting in vitro. Okay, so it's a movie with Jennifer Lopez. It's called The Plan or something like that. Anyway, she is a woman of a particular age, has had like relationships that didn't work out, things like that, but she really wanted to be a mom. Excuse me, wanted to be a mom. So she ended up doing in vitro. And the day that she did the in vitro, she ran into this guy that they were trying to get the same taxi cab.
Oh, okay.
Inevitably, they start dating, but she's now already pregnant. So she ends up having to tell him, like, the day that I met you, this is what I did. I'm now having these children, blah, blah, blah. Her perspective was, I'm not pressed for the man. Right. I wanted to have the kids.
Yeah.
So being able to be honest and being like, I like you, but this is also the situation that I'm in. And he decided like, oh, well, I want to be around. So he was around for all of the things. Then they kind of broke up because these aren't his, like, I don't think she had the babies yet. No, she hadn't had the babies yet. So he was helping with the stroller. But as most men, reality hit when shit started being up in that house. And so he kind of like stepped off a little bit. And then, again, by the end of the movie, they reconnected, blah, blah, blah. And then, inevitably, they end up having, or kids at together. The end, you could tell that she's now pregnant because she gets to throwing up. And he realizes, now we got these twins, now I'm expecting. But I think sometimes, and this is what I basically boiled this down to, she knew what she wanted. Yeah. And the packaging of what you want, if you want to be a mom and don't want to be like a animal mom, but want to be a mom, you can be a mom.
Okay, but what about the financial implications that come with that? Because it's not cheap.
It is not cheap, but this is what I want people to understand. It can happen either way. You could have a husband who did not prepare his end of life stuff, and now you have children.
No, I'm saying like just to even get the sperm donor, like that's the part that I'm saying is not like to get with a man and get pregnant, you know, that way doesn't cost you anything to get there. Yes, you have to have the money to take care of the child, but now we're talking about. Now, because I don't have a man, now I have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to even get pregnant if I don't want to just sleep with a random person.
Yeah.
And what if I can't afford that? So, like, I am now being priced out of motherhood.
So this is these are the things that we're looking for that, and people time and time again have lived and died and not been able to achieve any of these things. I feel like you have to mourn a life that you're not going to have.
I totally agree.
And it's just the reality of living life. Because
everybody doesn't get everything they want.
To do anything, that's just
so sad.
Yeah, to do anything, it means that you will have to either lose something, like there's going to be something lost if you're actually living, you're not going to have everything.
Yeah.
There's going to be some loss. There's going to be some heartache and some trials and tribulations. You have to learn how to mourn it and move on. If you want something, like if motherhood is something that you want to do, there are other avenues that can. You have to figure out what is the fulfilling part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if that means working at
like a daycare,
mm-hmm. or being a part of like the Girl Scouts, being a mentor to people, going to some of these shelters, that is also, and no, and it's not, no, it's not going to necessarily be yours. But if you mourn that, understand that it's maybe not going to be your life to do with, carrying your own children. There are a lot of people out here that are looking for support and help and need that. And you can actually, in my opinion, spread yourself further with being able to, with doing that. So but anything in life that you want that doesn't happen, I think nobody ever mourns it like they need to.
Ooh, yeah, that's so good.
You gotta mourn it like you need, like, and because that way you can release it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, it's always going to be there, right? And you'll never feel fulfilled in your life because you're sitting here like, well, I should have did this, or I could have, or I would have messed with such and such, or and then also the decisions that you made. If you were younger, I never should have had an abortion. If I had known, I shouldn't have took that plan B if I had known. 2020. I mean, hindsight is 2020. If we could go back in time, the world would be perfect.
Yep.
But we can't. So we have to live in where we are, and in that is going to be some heartache and some loss, and there's going to have to be some compromising you have to do in your own life. And I think a lot of us are not willing to compromise our morals, or we're not willing to compromise our religion. There are things that you don't want to compromise in certain spaces.
Right.
I was listening to a podcast, and y'all know we talk about Kevin on stage all the time, but he was on a Joe Budden podcast, and he talked about how people negotiate the Bible.
Yeah, I heard that.
Mm-hmm. And so the things that you don't want to negotiate, I think also, and not saying that you have to, but I also want to say, I also want to bring up, you'll negotiate by getting tattoos, you'll negotiate by having alcohol, you'll negotiate by eating pork, you'll negotiate by cursing, you'll negotiate with all these things. But sometimes I think that negotiation that you don't want to negotiate is also a crutch to saying of why something doesn't happen for you. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh well, I'm gonna do all these other things, but I'm not, having sex out of wedlock because it says it in the Bible. Fine, but then also don't negotiate everything else.
Right.
Oh, I do want to get another this, or I do want some more piercings, or I do want to I'm out here, I be drinking, I be smoking, I be doing such and such, but I'm not negotiating that.
Yeah, it's like I draw the line
I draw the line at that point. But the line is only, sometimes I feel like the line be drawn because ain't nobody ever crossed it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you saying, oh, it's because of my line. No, it's might be some other things. So let's figure out the other things. And so that if you get rejected, you can't say it's because of my religion. Right. Or you can't say it's because I'm not putting it out. Or you can't say it's because of this. There is sometimes we weaponize the Bible to protect ourselves from hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that also got to be a part of it. Yeah.
I think when you had mentioned like wanting to, like, compromising, mm-hmm, and like being able to say like, all right, this isn't gonna go the way I planned it. I'm gonna have to find another route. That made me think of a comment. So one of my homeboys made this comment, and I found it kind of rude, but he's entitled to his opinion. And so he said that he's in his early 40s, and so he said it's annoying to him when he encounters women in their 40s that still want children. And exactly, but I'm only gonna give context. Like, like I said, I think that the comment was offensive, but he's entitled to feel how he feels.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his 40s. He has a child already.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't want to. He's like, I don't. I'm in my 40s and I'm dating. I'm not dating looking to start over. And so he's like, when I meet women that are in their 40s, my general expectation is that we've already gone past that hump of, you know, having the kids and doing all this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in this like later second half of our lives, and you're wanting to kind of start all that over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing to him was, you as a man can say that because you have that choice. Like as a man, your flow of life is different
Mm-hmm.
than it is for women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we don't always get the opportunity to reach those milestones. And then when we get to 40, yes, we're still looking for that. And so, you know, and he was like, yeah, I get it, but just like it's annoying for me because it's like I'm out here trying to find my person too. And like that's not something that I like. I'm ready to like enjoy my life with this person, not start over. And so I'm just providing that context. I still didn't care for the statement that he made, but it's his life. He entitled to that. But I bring that up to say that that is also a part of the compromising conversation because, you know, say you do find that, so say my homeboy, he does, you know, get find that woman, right, who, like you said, hey, a lot of what's on the inside is exactly what she's looking for, but he's like, I'm 45. I don't want to have a baby. I've done the kid thing. That's not how I'm seeing the later part of my life. And so now her options are to either, hey, this is a great man, we're compatible. He has all the qualities I'm looking for, but he doesn't want kids. So I have to decide, do I not move forward in a relationship with somebody that I think could be compatible with me and hold out for the guy that comes around that wants to have that kid, you know?
And that's going to be your the line of some when you're dealing with a second person because it's not just about you. Are you more for the man or the child? And so that's a choice.
But most people want both.
But that's a choice. You have to make the choice and mourn whatever you can't have.
Yeah.
And so if you say, well, you know what, I would rather just find someone who also wants the same things that I'm looking for, you have to throw that you have to
throw that relationship away.
You have to throw that fish back into the pond.
Mm-hmm.
And the hope is that you find another fish. But then my thing is, what if you out there all day and you don't?
And that's the thing. Like, okay, so you throw that fish back in the pond. Now you're 50 and you haven't found some. It goes back to what you said. So do you start to feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't have threw him back in the pond because here I am 50. I still don't have the baby and I don't have the man.
So the thing is, you have to, again, everything in life is going to be a question because you could be like, well, I'll go ahead and be with him because my thing is because I want a partner.
Right.
I can mourn. I can feel I can feel in other ways of how to fill the void of not being a child. I mean, not having a child.
Right.
Maybe I get my nieces more. Maybe I have going to the hospitals where they asking for doing the mentorship
or doing the holding the baby,
going to hold and then inevitably sometimes people going and seeing, putting yourself on a well, if you married and he don't want no more kids, then I don't know what to tell you. But just there are other things you have to figure out if this is what I need to fulfill me.
Right.
And if like, nah, doing all that other stuff is not going to fulfill me, don't hold him up to finding who he wants,
right,
and who will compromise their whatever to fit his stuff. You have to, if this is what you want, you have to know, like, I may not meet anybody ever again, but I would rather hold out for what I want than to settle for this. And that has to be your choice. There are some people that's like, no, I would rather just be in this relationship. He does have a daughter. I will, hopefully have a good relationship with that, because that now you adding a third person into the mix.
Right.
Hopefully I have a good relationship with her mom so that I could be a part of her life, and maybe that's how I'll get the fulfillment of that. But then you still know, okay, that's not my child, so I have to mourn that I won't have any biological children.
Right.
But are you okay with that? And you just got to move on from there. And it's everything in life is going to have to be is a part of choices. And I honestly didn't think I was going to be where I'm at today with the person I'm with from meeting him 16 years ago. I know you didn't think you was going to be where you at, even being married, because that wasn't even on your bucket list. You know, so the packaging, because your package wanted all the things. And you was like, now I'm going to give you one. You compromised a little bit.
I did. I compromised.
And so he had to, on the transverse of saying, he had to mourn the fact that you ain't getting everything out of the package that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
But I'm giving you the life in which we need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so you mourn that, and then you get the fullness of everything else.
And I think, you know, people can sometimes look at situations like that, like for that, like, so you're right. I didn't want marriage. I didn't like that. To me, was not a goal. Even like, so like marriage, kids, even, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say that, but like, because I was gonna say monogamy, but that's not what I mean. I mean like being with somebody, like having a life partner.
Yeah.
In my mind, honestly, granted, this is like the 18, 19, 20-year-old version of me. But the way I envisioned my relationship life was that I would have different eras or different experiences. You know, like I was like, oh, this is my high school sweetheart. I'll probably date somebody else in my 20s, and maybe I'll date somebody else in my 30s. I might do somebody else in my 40s. Like, I'll kind of go through these phases, right? And I was okay with that. I was content with that.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want children. I was not. There was nothing in me that was like, oh, I want to be a mom so bad. I was like, I'm good. I want to travel. I want to just kind of live my life.
Yeah.
Marriage, I enjoyed the idea of marriage, but it wasn't necessary for me. I was like, I don't really need that. Weddings and all of that, I pictured it as, if I never get married, then at some milestone birthday, I'll have a really big party where I can wear a white dress. I didn't think, I never felt like I needed that. You know what I mean? And even when in my marriage now, and when we talked about taking it to that level, we agreed to do it because it worked for us at that time, but I still wasn't in this mindset of, I need that. So I think people that are longing for that might see a situation like mine and say, well, how is it fair?
You got something that you didn't even want.
That she gets it and she didn't even want it.
Yeah. Whereas
I'm over here preparing myself for my future husband and don't have any prospects. And even with the child thing too, have girls that are getting pregnant. It's so easy for them to get pregnant first time, or parents that are abusive to their kids and all of that. And you have these women that are saying, I would do anything to be able to be a chance to be a mom, and I'm not able to have that experience. So it's almost like, what do you even tell those people? And not that we have to tell them anything, but I guess it's just more so of, I'm empathetic to it because I get it. I understand, and I can see how this can make a person feel depressed. I can see how this can make a person almost give up, especially when you look around and like, you see somebody like me who never wanted it, and then you get it. Come up off that husband.
Let me get that thing up over you.
But it's like you say, life is about choices and different compromises and things like that, because I didn't think that was going to happen, but I made the choices that I made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
because he could have said, like, I just want kids and marriage. You could have been like, I ain't for all that.
That's true.
And you could have been done with him.
That's true.
And kept it moving. But then never really started dating the caliber of guys that you wanted to. You like, I probably should have just stayed with him because he was cool. But such is life.
Yeah, such is life. This is one of those things where I don't feel that it gets enough.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't get enough attention. I think that people just act as if it is the norm. Oh, women get married and have kids all the time, and In all actuality, it don't happen like that.
No, it doesn't happen like
No, it
that.
doesn't. And then on the religious side of things that doesn't get necessarily talked about as much is that because you have this longing for these relationships, you stay in something longer than you should off of the basis of don't talk about divorce, you stick it out with your husband, him being the head of household, and all of these things. People end up in very bad situations financially, emotionally, even if it isn't physically abusive, but you doing bull crap. So you have all of these things. And so understanding that is like, I think that's why it starts to get to a point where it's like, is it really, you really got to find that right other person.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult thing because also that right person for you was the person that is right for you may not have been right for somebody else and has done some tormenting in that space. And so now you're trying to rebuild this person of who, like the foundation of him, because even if the foundation of a person of being a good person is there, the walls in the house that they've built around that foundation also has to be torn down. And that's a very hard thing to do because people think that the walls and things are the foundation. And it's not. And they don't know how to go back to basics is difficult. To take somebody back to basics and then rebuild them is even harder. And that's a feat that most people that go into these relationships don't understand that you are fighting.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to fight, but also be willing to give up the fight. And that'd be hard to being like, I did all I could do. Because the first thing, don't take what I taught you and apply it somewhere else.
That's automatically what they're gonna do.
And I'm gonna be ready to fight. Sugar in your gas tank, bananas in your tailpipe. I'm going off. So yeah, I don't know. I feel for people. I'll say this. If it before Davon and I got back together, I was so content with like, I've had the relationship. This was my mindset. I've had the relationship, so I understand. I had the opportunity, the blessed opportunity to see what a very beautiful and loving relationship to look like. I had that opportunity. Had the opportunity to have the kids. So for me, I was like, the only thing that I did not get to do that I would love to do is to travel. Would it be great to be able to have a partner to do that with? Absolutely. But I don't have that. I can't allow that to stop my show. And I did mourn. I wrote in my little journal all the things that I wanted. I had to mourn the fact that if it doesn't happen, you have to be okay with that. I went through all of the things. And so with the situation that I'm in now and this relationship, I was willing to put things on the line and saying like, I don't like this. This needs to change. You need to grow up with this. And to being okay with him being like, you know what? This ain't for me. Because I would have been like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to just go back to the plan I had. It was great that it was a possibility. But I also know I could be doing this.
Yeah. And
because I had the willing, and I had a partner who also felt like he wanted to be the best version of himself. So because of that, and I mean, it doesn't help that it definitely helped that we were already familiar with each other. So it wasn't like a brand new thing. Because that could also be kind of like, no, don't you talk about nothing like that. But that's the biggest thing. I think for women, you need a man that is also a head of a household who's also willing to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes those things don't. Especially with the social medias.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They telling you to do everything but. So.
Yeah, it's sad, and to be honest with you, I don't really feel like there's any good advice for people in that situation.
Because everybody's situation is different. I could tell you one thing that really would work for you and tell somebody else something else and the same thing, and they were like, girl, that didn't work for me.
But I think you have dropped some gems as far as, you know, really breaking down the layers and finding out what it is that you really want. Like, okay, if you're not getting the whole package of, you know, marriage and kids and all of this or whatever, maybe it's time to break those down, prioritize those things, figure out what it is that you really, really want, and then maybe just focus on that. So like you said, if it's the marriage and a partnership that you really want, let's focus on that. Maybe we do need to hire that dating coach. Maybe we do need to start thinking outside of our box or dating outside of our race or whatever the case, because it's the partnership that's most important.
Yes.
Or if it's the child that's most important, okay, maybe we do need to look at adoption. Maybe we do need to save up money for, that sperm donor or whatever you need to do, but if you're not able to get the whole package, figure out what's most important to you and maybe focus your efforts on that thing.
Yeah.
And as we know, life be taking crazy twists and turns. So while you're focusing on that one thing, some of those other things may end up coming like attaching to it. Yeah. You like my friend, for instance, my homeboy, for instance. Now, if it was a woman who said, I want a child, I'm not waiting on no dude, I'ma just go do it. She goes and has that baby by a sperm donor and then meets up with him. Well, now we don't, maybe she might want more kids, but that's no longer a core issue because you already have your child, I have my child, we're compatible. We can move forward and have the relationship that we want to have, right? Because he didn't say he didn't want to date women with kids. He said he doesn't want. He's annoyed by getting into the relationship, and she's like, "Well, I want to have a baby." Well, ma'am, I'm already 45. Like, what?
Yeah.
By the time we do all the things, I'm gonna be 50, and you trying to get pregnant.
And this is the other thing I think too, because the fact that he never, and I don't know this to be true, but he didn't even say, I don't want anybody that has kids.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't even say that.
So it's like, I don't want to be the guy. Because to be honest with you, if you meet someone and they already have a child, in that very beginning, you're not responsible.
Right.
And so sometimes I want to do what I want to do instead of being forced to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that helps in your own relationship. Because it's like, oh, I got the baby, this and that. Oh, okay, well then let me know when you're free.
Right.
And you're not going to be offended by that because, oh, okay, well.
That's what you was doing before I showed up anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if that's also your baby, you're going to be like, well, you need to change his diaper, or you need to do such and such, or you need to pick him up from daycare. And it's like, I don't want to do all of that. But I like you, though. You know what I'm saying? Right. So sometimes you got to, I don't know. And shit don't be cheap out here. Bread ain't even cheap. Now, I will say there are websites. I'm going to tell you now. There are websites to get everything you're looking for without having to pay hefty time.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I did see, for anybody that's interested, I did see that there's a website. I think it's called Just a Baby. I'm going to confirm and put the link in there. But there's a website where if you are looking for sperm donors, you can get them for either free or like a lower cost. Now, granted, this is, I think, community led. So I don't know if it's like when you go to these sperm banks where they have, vetted the person and made sure they had all this different information. This is kind of like, it's community led. So it's individuals who want to help. They're like, okay, well, I'll donate my sperm for free. But what does he got going on in his background and his family life and all of that? I think they have where you can message the person and ask those questions. Yeah. But it's different than them going to the doctor and having everything verified.
But the thing is, even if that's the case, right? If you meet someone on the site, and I don't know all of the ins and outs, because before Devon and I got together, I had thought before I had Joshy, I wanted to try to have a boy for Jonathan. So I kind of looked into some of these things. And you can message someone, if this is somebody that you like, you pay for his doctor visit. It's definitely not as expensive. It's like a regular annual checkup. Hey, can you run him for
these medical things?
Things, right? You same thing for you. I need to be ran for these medical things, making sure they don't have any sexually transmitted diseases, blah blah blah. But one of the things that I've seen, and I know this for a fact, a young lady on social media, she went through the fertility, got all the testing done. She got all her testing done. Her child still came out with special needs. So
you can't control it either way.
You can't control it either way. It's the same thing if you met this guy, y'all get married. He don't have any sexually transmitted diseases, but he also has things that aren't compatible. Like, it's inevitable sometimes. You can't rule out everything. Oh, if this is dormant in you, it should be dormant in him. The way the Lord says biology workers don't always be biology. Like, that he gonna give you what you gonna get.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to stop with that.
But some people could just feel more. They feel comfortable that oh, you got these.
It's a
test
veil
ran
of
and
comfort.
da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's a veil of comfort.
Right.
And I get that. And you can still do that. But they have anything you want, trust and believe the internet can provide.
Yeah, their resources.
You have to look for it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the other thing. If that's the thing that I know that we don't do. You want to date, but you won't go speed dating. Oh, I'm too good for that.
Right.
Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I'm too good for that. I don't want to go on coffee dates. I'm too good for that.
Sometimes you don't want to get on online dating websites.
I just want it to be natural. I just want it to be natural, but you don't travel. Mm-hmm. You don't go outside. You don't go out your box. You only do this. You only do that. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So you gotta when we want something. If I wanted to know how to do hair, if I'm on the internet, I'm on YouTube, I'm going to talk to this person, I want to meet this person, I want to do such and such. You want to get a car, you get your credit run, you talk to this person. Oh, where did you get your car from? You do all of the research for these materialistic things. When you want something, you got to get out here and do it and put forth the effort.
That is a great point.
Anybody, as the old saying go, ain't no man coming and knock at your door.
True.
So.
Well, was that another great episode?
I think it was another great episode. What else y'all want from me? I done dropped all the gems.
I hope we gave the people what they wanted.
I hope we gave the people what they need.
Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Drop down in the comments.
And we'll drink to that.
Cool.